and welcome to another video. As you can see, this is my sketchbook. You guys have seen me working this a couple of times. I started about 2 weeks ago. It is a Strathmore mixed media sketchbook. It's got about 64 pages and it's a 7 and 3/4 inch by 9 3/4 inch size sketchbook. I've worked in it a little bit so far. As you can see, it's getting a little bit puffy there because I glued some stuff down in there. But I'm just making this video to tell you guys that I quit. I don't want to work in it anymore. So yeah, we're getting rid of that one. It really was ruining my ability to draw. Pretty much. I did not want to draw in it because I hated it so much, and I'm going to get into it a little bit for you guys. But this is my new sketchbook. It is a Little Art Supply sketchbook. It is a 10 by 10 size, which is the size I prefer. And also, I already know that I like this sketchbook because I bought 2 others. Not in this size, but by the company. I really like the paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and start this sketchbook off for you guys.
I know it feels really weird for me to just start a new sketchbook after I just started this one about 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to go ahead and get into it for you guys about why I really just did not like that other sketchbook. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit different from the intro. I recorded that like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if I have a cold or what, but yeah, I feel like my voice sounds a little bit different. So when it came to the Strathmore sketchbook, there was several things that I didn't end up liking about it. I feel like first and foremost, it was the size. Like I said earlier, it was a 9 3/4 inch by 7 3/4 inch, and I am used to working at much larger sizes than that. Even though the artworks that I do aren't very big, I feel like I'm very used to working on large spreads of paper, like when I do comics and stuff. And I just feel like even if I don't draw very big, the fact that I have half of the space I'm used to working on was really a detriment for me, and it was keeping me from being able to do stuff that I wanted to do. Like when it comes to this spread right here, I'll talk a little bit about what I'm actually drawing here in a minute, but I have an idea for like a little comic thing set up, and I kept thinking that I wanted to draw it. I really wanted to draw it, but I didn't want to do it in that Strathmore sketchbook because I felt like there was not enough space to do it in. And as you can see, I like to, when I do like little AU spreads, like this little tiny AU spread that I'm making, I like to put a full body so that you can get an idea what the AU is about, and then I could do like little comics around it. And I felt like there was not space enough to do that in that little Strathmore sketchbook. I feel like, yeah, maybe I could have done it if I was drawing a little bit smaller, but I don't know. It wasn't a vibe for me. And there was also the fact that like I said, I don't really like textured paper, and that paper was a little bit textured. I typically like to have smoother paper, and something about the texture was not vibing with me when I was drawing with my pens. I feel like I was skipping a lot. I'm not sure if it skips more than what I'm used to, because my little tiny pens that I like to use, my high-tech C's, but when it comes to the high-tech C's, they actually do tend to skip sometimes, just because of the way that the pens are set up. Since they are so narrow, they do tend to skip. And so I was like, well, it's not necessarily the paper's fault. So I tried out some other pens on it, and they worked a little bit better, but it wasn't satisfying because I couldn't even use my favorite pens in the sketchbook. It's like, what's the point in the sketchbook if I can't even use my favorite materials on it? You know, like my high-tech C's are skipping. I felt like my markers, it was really soaking on my markers, and it wasn't making my markers look the way that I like to use them. And also I was doing stuff that I would never typically do in a sketchbook just to use up the paper. Like I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of this video, but I was pasting stuff down into my sketchbook. And there's something that you guys need to know about me, is I absolutely hate paper crafting. I don't mind if other people like to paper craft. I actually think people can do really good, cool stuff with paper crafting. I follow lots of artists who do paper crafting just because I admire that in them, because I am so shit at it. It makes me so frustrated every time I try to do stuff where I'm folding paper or cutting paper or pasting paper down. It makes me super frustrated, and I don't like doing it personally. I just never have. Ever since I was a kid, I don't like paper crafting. And so I was actually cutting out little doodles that I was doing at work and pasting them into the sketchbook so that I wouldn't have to use the paper. And I'm like, I hate paper crafting so much, but I'm willing to do paper crafting stuff in this sketchbook just because I don't like the paper. And so I was like, I really don't like this sketchbook. It's bringing out parts of myself that I was like, I don't even like doing this. And I just like this sketchbook that much less than stuff that I don't like. You know what I mean? And so I should have given up the sketchbook at that point, but I was like, I can still do stuff. So I was doing like little Sharpie drawings in it just because I was like, I will fill up the paper. And I'm like, the whole point of a sketchbook is not to fill it up. It's for like exploration and stuff. And it was really dragging down my motivation to draw because I didn't want to draw in it. But I was like, this is supposed to be my next main sketchbook. I should be drawing in it. But then I was like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do jack shit. And so I was like, if I don't have to do jack shit, and this is not like my job, and I don't have a boss, no one is saying that I cannot start a new sketchbook. And even if they are, who cares? They didn't buy it. I bought it. It's my sketchbook. I can do whatever I want. And so I decided I was going to retire the sketchbook. And listen, it's not that I'm not going to use that sketchbook anymore. I am going to use the sketchbook more. It's just, it's not going to be my main sketchbook anymore. I just couldn't handle it. It was not for me. And I feel like that's okay. If it's for you and it's your favorite sketchbook, I'm really happy for you. I'm really glad for you. It just didn't work out for me this time, and that's okay. We don't have to like everything that we buy. I mean, it's obviously, it can feel a little bit disappointing because it feels like maybe we wasted our money, or maybe that we don't like something that other people like, but everybody likes different things, and I feel like that's okay. And so I try not to beat myself up too much about the fact that I didn't like the sketchbook, and I'm just trying to get over it currently. You know what I feel like kind of jinxed me is that I decided to put stickers on the sketchbook. I already talked about this before, but I kind of have sticker anxiety, and I don't really like to put stickers on things because I kind of feel like I wasted the sticker. And so maybe putting the stickers on there was me fulfilling those sticker anxiety things in my mind. And so I was like, I'm not gonna like the paper, something subconscious. I put the stickers on there, so it's like a 2-for-1 double hit to my ego. Is I didn't like the sketchbook, and then I feel like I wasted the stickers by putting them on there. The good thing though is that they were my stickers, so I can make more stickers if I feel like it. And maybe I'll post a video of me making stickers for my new sketchbook, but I also feel like I don't want to jinx that one by putting stickers on it, so probably not. I might just make new stickers and put them in like a sticker book, like buy a sticker book or something that's like reusable. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but those are for people who like me who have severe sticker anxiety, and they're like, they hate wasting their stickers, and you just stick them in the book and you can always peel them off later if you want to. But yeah, so talking a little bit more about this sketchbook, like I said earlier, this is a Lita Art Supply sketchbook, and I have tried this sketchbook before in the past, not in this size, but from the company. I've had 2 8.5 by 11 sizes, I think, from this company, and I do really like this sketchbook. I mean, the markers, I wouldn't say that they don't blend well, but I don't know. When I was doing them previously, maybe I'll put up some pictures for you guys to see what the artwork looked like when I was doing them. I just really like the way it looks for markers. The only thing that I really don't like about it is that it's kind of it's obviously off-white. It's sort of a little bit of a cream color. That's the only thing I don't like about it, but I really don't mind cream colored paper. If you're like super against cream colored paper, I would not recommend this sketchbook. I know some people are not into that, which is totally cool. I get it. I'm not super a big fan of cream colored paper either, but I've kind of gotten over it. Personally, I'm like, it doesn't have to be perfect white. Who cares? I don't care about it. I mean, other people care about it, but that's them. That's not me, you know. So that's the only part that I'm not super 100% on. I do prefer a white paper, but I really like the quality of this paper, so I don't let the cream coloredness of it bother me too much. And I just really like the way it looks for markers, and I have sketched in pen on this. Obviously you're seeing me doing that right now with my regular sketchbooks. It's very smooth paper, and that's what I like in my sketchbooks, and I already know how it works with markers. It's been a couple of years since I have used this paper with markers, but hopefully this week I'll be able to use it with markers and show you guys how it works with markers, and it will react the same way, hopefully, fingers crossed, because I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen to you, but sometimes you buy a sketchbook and then you go back to a couple years later and the paper quality is not as good as it used to be, and then you're like, shit, this is my favorite paper, and they changed it, or I got a bad batch or something, and now it's like the worst sketchbook ever. Unfortunately, I had that happen with a different sketchbook that I like to use. They were the Denic sketchbooks, and I have recently bought some new Denic sketchbooks just because I was like, well, I'll see if maybe the paper quality has gone back up, because for a while when I had this one Denic sketchbook and it worked so good, I was like, this is so beautiful with markers, and I got a second one and I was like, oh, what the fuck, it's not the same, it's like bleeding, and it's like looks weird and gross, and it's blending weird. I'm like, what is going on? And I was like, I didn't know what was different. I think I bought one in store and I bought one online, and so, but they were about the same brand. Like, they were definitely both, and one was not like a cheap knockoff or anything. They were both like from the same company. But I don't know, something about it just the paper quality dipped in between the two sketchbooks that I bought, or the batch are not consistent. I don't know, but they don't think they sell authentic sketchbooks in store anymore. I had to find their online website, and they really just like lowered the stock on them. Like the sketchbooks that I had prior are like these sort of kind of hard covers. They're like leather but also hardcover, and they only sell them in soft cover now, which is, I was like, okay, maybe they really had to cut costs, and like they're like really trying to stay afloat or something. I don't know. But also with the Doodle Art Supply sketchbook, the other second thing that I don't like, other than the cream color, is that they don't come in hardcover. They only come in soft cover, which is kind of a bummer. They do lay flat, which was one problem I had with that Strathmore sketchbook, is that it would not lay flat no matter what. Like, it was fucking bothering me so bad. I would always have to push on the middle, and I was like, just crack the spine. I really wanted to crack the spine, but the way that the pages were glued down, it would refuse. The spine would not crack. It was like glued weird, and I was like pushing on the center just to crack the spine so it would lay fucking flat, and it refused to lay flat. And I was like, this is pissing me off, because I need to draw on both sides of the paper, and it refused to fucking lay flat, you guys. Sorry, I was very passionate, but it was really, really bothering me, and it only reminded me how much it was bothering me when I brought it up. Yeah, it wouldn't lay flat. That was also one of the problems I had with it, is no matter what, even no matter how much I pushed on it, the one side of it would always come up compared to the other side. It was really bothering me. Anyway, moving past that, just bring it back down. That was a little bit too passionate. Yeah, I didn't like that about this sketchbook, and so those are the only two things about the latest Art Supply sketchbook that I don't like, is that it's not a hardcover, and that it has a cream colored paper. The whole thing about a hardcover is that it's stable, nice and stable, and also that way my sketchbook is not flopping around. Like, I tend to chuck my sketchbook. I know you should not throw your sketchbook around. It's probably not good for it. But when I'm done, I'm typically drawing in my bed when I'm not drawing on my desk, and I'm majority of the time drawing on my bed, let's be honest. And so when I'm done with it, I usually just chuck it, throw it on the floor, and it's not as it's not as satisfying to do that, because when it's like a sketchbook that's like hardcover, you hear like the thunk, and that's nice and satisfying. But two, I'm always worried that it's gonna like bend the paper, and it's gonna like fold weird, and I have a fucked up sketchbook, you know. Thankfully, with my two previous Little Art Supply sketchbooks, I have not folded them up too badly. That's probably just because after I'm done with them, I put them on the shelf, so they're nice and secure up on the shelf there. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about my sketchbooks. I guess I can talk a little bit about the art for this week. So when it came to the art, this is an idea that I was having for a long time, based off of this one comedian. I was watching YouTube shorts like a long time ago, like 2 years ago, I think. And this guy was talking about how he was a champion cheerleader, and basically he was like, well, he was talking about how like people would ask him, did the footballers bully you because you were like a male cheerleader? And he was like, no, I would bully the football players because we were like really good cheerleaders and they sucked. And so I'd be like, yo, we're out here cheering for you guys, so you better fucking catch the ball or I'm gonna kick your ass, basically, right? I was like, that is so funny. That's like a really fun dynamic. Obviously, bullying is not good. I don't think bullying is good in real life, but I do think that I don't want to say this, and it sounds like I condone bullying. I really 100% don't condone bullying ever in any sense in real life. But I don't know. I just feel like that's a funny dynamic in like media. Obviously, I don't think you should beat anybody up. So I'll just say in this story that Kamal, who is the cheerleader in this scenario, it's just Kamal is one of my OCs. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know who Kamal is. And then there's Cricket, another one of my OCs. And in the past, in pretty much every iteration of them, they have a pretty tumultuous relationship where they don't get along. I would say typically when it comes to power dynamics, Kamal typically has the upper hand just because he is larger than Cricket. But Cricket does tend to get his licks in also. And also, they just tend to like not get along, and sometimes it leads to fights. So I feel like it's a little bit, it starts off as bullying, but then it sort of turns into more of like a rivalry between the two of them, which I feel like is okay. Because if they both do shitty things, is it really bullying? I mean, but then it's like, if someone's bullying you and then you retaliate against them, that's not bullying from your end then, right? But I don't know. They're both pretty shitty when it comes to the kind of people that they are. But it doesn't really typically get physical between the two of them. I'm thinking of the story that I've written them in, and they have physically fought like one time. But I feel like sometimes when you don't like somebody, you do tend to fight them. So yeah, it just feels like maybe people would have more pity on Cricket just because he's the smaller of the two. But the Cricket is also an asshole, so don't feel too bad for him in these situations. In this situation, you can feel bad for him though, because this is just straight up bullying. But it's like their college age, I guess. I do have some teenager OCs, but they're not like, they're fighting more against the system than they are against each other in those types of stories. Maybe I'll draw those guys for you sometime. It's not that I don't like them. I just don't really have any ideas for them currently at the time. They were for a really long time. They were my main OCs because I was writing for them a lot, but I wasn't really drawing them too often. I do have some sketchbooks where they're in there, but really only the main two from the story. And the story has changed a lot, so now those two aren't even the same main two anymore. And so I'm kind of like, so maybe I'll revamp them for you guys, and then you guys can see what they look like now, based off the way I want the story to go now. But as of right now, I don't really, some of them have a little bit more canon designs than others. But maybe I'll have a session where I just do some more character designs. As you guys know, character design is my favorite part to do anyway. Now that I'm looking at the footage of this sketchbook where I go over with the Ecoline brush pen, it reminds me of the Strathmore. The one thing that actually worked really well in the Strathmore was this Ecoline brush pen, and I told you guys that fucking sketchbook said it was mixed media, but it works really good for watercolor, because watercolor is what people tend to use most of the time. I told you, and you didn't believe me. I don't know if you didn't believe me or not, but I knew that fucking watercolor was going to do good in that sketchbook, and you know what? These brush pens worked like a dream in that sketchbook, and so if I was going to use it again, it'd be for this sketchbook. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for spending this time with me. I'll go ahead and see you in the next one. Back with this same sketchbook and not with that old one. It's much better now. Thanks. Bye.